At some point, it will go live. There we go. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable. It's March 23rd on this beautiful evening. We've got three people with us today. We've got Bob Kosh, Bob Salvo. It's my meeting with the Bobs. and myself. How's everyone doing today?
Very good. Thank you, Michael.
So far, so good.
Excellent. Anybody want to start off with any immediate things in the news that they have heard about or want to chat about? We had the London thing. Not too much hazmat stuff involved with that.
Bob?
They had from Hazmat Nation. They had in South Carolina. They actually had a confined space call where I guess a guy went to go work on his well. Hadn't been seen for a while, and then when the first responders showed up, they recognized that this was not a rescue; it was a recovery, which is good. They had their technical rescue team show up on the scene, so it was good that they didn't, jump right in. As you hear so many times, you have a patient, and then you end up having a rescuer or two go down. So, kudos to them for recognizing it and waiting for the appropriate people to show up.
Wow.
Yeah.
This happened when this week?
Yeah, it was in South Carolina. I forget the name of the town, but it was on hazmatnation.com, so you can read the whole article and see exactly what they did. But that's just a quick little snippet of what happened. So it was a good deal.
Could you imagine what it's like to get stuck inside a well?
No.
Was he upside down or face up? Like,
did not say.
That just sounds horrific.
What was that baby? What was that baby that got stuck in a well?
McClure. Jessica McClure.
Jessica.
Wow.
Wait, was Jessica McClure the one that died on the space shuttle?
No. That was
that McCarthy?
Wasn't
that McCarthy?
I forget her name.
Oh, we got two votes on a Jessica on the chat rooms.
It was Jessica. And they went and they dug underneath the ground. Christy
Oh, now we got a Christy. I like
Christy McCullough. That was a space shuttle.
I think that was a space shuttle.
That was a space shuttle, yeah.
Right. Okay. So anyway, it doesn't really matter. McCullough, that's what it was. Christy McCullough. She was a school teacher.
Right. Oh, the one with the big puffy hair. I mean, I guess it was the 80s. Everybody had
that. Was 80s.
It was cool. All the cool kids are doing that stuff. So.
Bobby probably had a mullet back then.
Stay on topic. We're getting told stay on topic. With or at least confined spaces, everybody knows that we're doing the hydrogen sulfide, all those heavy gases. How many people out there have the capability to change air in a hole? And what I'm talking about is the fan with the trunk on it, whatever the hell you want to call it thing. Everybody calls it something different, but the tube that goes down into the hole. Does anybody have that that's out there listening? You guys do, Bobby?
Yeah.
Yep. Do you?
We don't have that.
Mm-hmm. No.
New York City Fire Department does not have the.
Talking about the collapsible hose that hooks to the fan.
Yeah,
and goes down in the.
Yep.
Wow, we got something you guys don't have. That's awesome.
Every Con Ed unit in the world has one, but we don't have one.
We don't have. I don't think. And let me tell you, they're going to say, "Oh, yes, they do." No, we don't. I've never seen it ever in New York City.
No, I've actually very rarely even seen them break out a meter at a confined space.
See, everybody's saying it.
Wow.
Burroughs, Bob Lundgren, the one and only, says they have it. Todd is saying hi to everybody. Two of them in St. John's.
They have a full set. What would comprise a full set? What would comprise a half set? Just the fan?
No, it's the lengths, I guess. No, I'm joking. I have no idea. It would have to be something with the lengths.
Yeah, Bob, let us know what comprises a full set.
See, San Diego doesn't have it. It's interesting.
I wonder, from a New York Fire Department point of view, if we could call in Con Ed to use those, like we do the vac truck when somebody gets themselves dug in a hole.
So when you guys have a confined space, what do you do?
When we have a confined space, we get an SCBA regardless of what's going down. That's basically how
Right.
we're getting around this. Is that we do not what we have a candle in the pigeon.
Candle and a pigeon.
That's good.
Yeah.
We don't really deviate from that. We do have what we consider Con Ed is Consolidated Edison, which is the major utility in New York City, and they have a plethora of vac trucks strolling around New York City. So all we got to do is call a trench, collapse, confined space, and they come running with like 3 of them immediately.
Okay.
Whatever. It's their standard SOP to whatever they're doing, dump it on the street and come. So sanitation. So wherever they are, they say, "Listen, I'm dumping it on first and second." They literally just dump on the street in the middle of Manhattan, and sanitation comes and picks it up with a payloader so that they can go to the emergency. So it's actually a pretty cool deal. I've seen them used many times. I'm sure they can put that nozzle in there and push air, but it's not going to be the same. So, I mean, I think the way we're getting around on that whole changing of air is by wearing SCBA. Yeah, we bring our own air.
Right.
Yeah, Bob is saying this supplied air setup. Yeah, that's pretty much what we do. We use supplied air with gunslingers or pony bottles, whatever you call them. Very infrequently do we just do a cylinder. If we're doing confined space, we're going in with a hose.
The hip airs.
Yeah. Well, usually we're going in with the 45-minute cylinder and the supplied air hook.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? We do. I mean, maybe the newer. I've been out of the system for a little while, but the pony bottle gives you between 7 and 10 minutes to exit.
Right.
So,
Right.
Fans more for the patient before we can get to them. Yeah, that's
true. That's a good point.
a good point. It's a good point. I would go with that same thing with venting a window in a fire. Doesn't mean more for me. It means more for them.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. But
No.
that's why we do it. That's why we, what we call down here VES, vent, enter, search, and it's more for the victims than it is for us. So
It's VEIS, vent, enter, isolate, search. That's the new.
yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have control
okay.
of that door. Gotta have control of that door.
Gotta have control of the door.
I'm gonna just spill.
All right.
I'm gonna just spit my hot chocolate.
Moving right along.
Oh. Bob or Kosh, I
Yes.
guess I'll say Bob, and you both say yes.
Okay.
You had a interesting CO run, if I am not mistaken. Did you not?
Yeah, actually, it was our hazmat team. I was not fortunate enough to go, but the engine company got dispatched to people feeling weak, a couple people feeling weak, general weakness, at a restaurant. And when the lieutenant got there, for whatever reason, CO popped up. And when I say it popped up, that's what everybody was talking about. There was no meter on scene yet. There was no nothing that could have produced CO. It wasn't until the hazmat team got there that they found a CO2 truck that had been pumping into an exterior connection for a restaurant that was no longer in business. Well, I take that back. They were in business, but they changed over systems. So he just was ordered to go to this place and make a connection. But what happened was this hose went through a wall to nothing. It was no longer, oops. It was no longer hooked up to a doer in the back of a restaurant or what have you. And from what they were saying, that he walked away for the truck from 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long, it's kind of undetermined. He normally pumps about 350 pounds. When he came back to the truck, 550 pounds had been pumped in and was still going. That's when they realized, hey, something's not right. They turned it off. But by this time, where the lines had gone through the wall into an adjacent bathroom, it filled the walls up. And the guys could take the tick and actually see a frost line on the wall. So obviously, so much was in these bathrooms, it displaced the oxygen, and that's why these people were feeling weak and passed out, what have you. what was kind of funny about it was after they ventilated it for a long period of time, they got the readings back up to an acceptable level, because when the guys went in with their air monitor, it went down below 19.5 like that.
How far?
So
What did it get down to?
I think they said it got down to 19.3.
Okay.
So, and it was by the time they got you go through the restaurant way back into the bathrooms, as they were getting closer to the bathrooms, it started dropping. So they obviously put on their air and went in and checked it out a little bit more. And that's where they saw the frost line bring in their tick, which, we always preach to everybody, especially on Hazmat, ticks aren't just for fires. So once they ventilated it for a period of time, they got the oxygen levels back up. When they were getting ready to leave, they saw the oxygen levels go down again. And what was happening is that the gas, or what suspected of happening, was the gas was starting to heat up and release. And that's why it was coming out in different volumes at different times.
Yeah.
So
it probably basically, deposition. It went back into a solid. It made dry ice.
Right, exactly. And as it was off gassing, for lack of a better term, it started bringing the O2 down again. So they closed the place down for overnight, let it do its thing. Hazmat went back out the next morning, and by then it had all dissipated. So it was a little kind of interesting. But it just goes to show that some of these calls that come in as, a medical call,
people sick,
may not be. Phoenix, if you go to YouTube, Phoenix did I think it's a 20-minute video on something. Our partner in crime, Phil Ambrose, is going to be doing we'll talk at FDIC about this, the gray area where rescue meets hazmat. And it talks about the same thing. You go into medical calls and they turn out being hazmat calls.
Well, that's exactly what happened in Phoenix. And I don't want to misquote it, but I'm pretty sure I'm good with this. The story is that they had a pregnant female worker that went to the basement. Yeah. And that's where their CO2 doer was filled. It was a McDonald's, I believe.
Yes.
And it was the guy disabled the CO2 meter or sensor in the place because it kept beeping.
Kept beeping. They covered it with electrical
tape, right? And they basically filled up the basement with a pool of CO2. She went down, got a couple of breaths. The Phoenix Fire Department came up, got her at the top, went down. They started swooning, and they came back up, and they knew something was wrong, and they handled that. Me and Mike have seen this. I'm going to say I've seen this a couple of times, at least.
More times than you think. You wouldn't. It's very surprising how often. It's almost like when when the oil company, I know we're the only ones that seem to have oil in our house, but they deliver to somebody who switched over to gas, and they pump 5,000 gallons of oil into a basement. They're doing the exact same thing with these liquid CO2 to various businesses, and sure as shit, there's a broken line. It's not connected. It's going to an old spot, and it does dissipate rather fast.
Right.
Yeah. And you can do a little experiment with this, and we've done it before, is you take a pillowcase and you put it over CO2, extinguishes, the trumpet, and you give it a blast, and you turn the gas back into the solid, which is deposition. So, that's pretty much in Bob's case what the guy did. He basically he made it snow in the walls.
He literally did. Almost.
That's amazing. Yeah, the guy had he basically made the toilet into a walk-in freezer, which is pretty awesome. That's
Todd.
So cool.
Todd in the chat room says that they had a guy die in a walk-in freezer with dry ice in a tub. He had to run in, hold his breath. He took one breath and died. We actually had a number of these similar types of instances during Superstorm Sandy in the city, when all these restaurant suppliers tried to hold their product cold. They went and they got dry ice. They put it in the walk-in freezers. In Manhattan, all the walk-in refrigerators and freezers are kept in the basement, and people were going down or getting calls for not feeling good because they went into their walk-in freezer.
Yeah.
Wow.
So definitely something to think about as the power is out in my area, and businesses may be doing whatever it takes to hold on to their product.
I mean, it's really cold, but how? I never really thought about it too much. I know people in the summer they'll put blocks of dry ice in a cooler and they'll put the kids' ice cream in it for a barbecue or something like that. And how well does it really work, though? I mean, I know it's cold, I know it holds, but like, is it that good? Like,
Yeah. Listen, I used to work for an ice cream shop way, way, way back when. That's how I got so fat. And you'd be at the beach, and you had your little ice cream cart, and I'd be out there all day with the ice cream cart, and that ice cream would still be rock hard, and it was
really?
no thicker than an average cooler. And I was opening up the top, dipping my hand in there all day long. It was opening, closing, and that stuff stayed rock hard.
See, now Todd Burton is telling us how to make explosives. That's great. Dry ice and magnesium. Awesome. Yes. Thank you.
It is quite the magnificent.
Don't try this at home.
Don't do that.
Disclaimer.
He's a jerk. All right, don't do that.
If you do try it at home, please try it in my first do area.
Wow, this guy's been pranked. Tim has been pranked while he was taking a shower, and they hit him with 10 20-pound CO2 extinguishers, and he passed out.
Oh,
that's funny.
That explains what happened to him in my class.
Wow.
Oh, was he in your class? Is this one of your?
He was just
one of your classmates.
Yeah. He's actually a pretty good dude. Him and his brother are funny characters.
Would that be covered under hazing?
Well, remember, hazing is for new people, and bullying is for people that have been on for a while. So, I don't know. When did this happen?
Where do we fall into that category?
Oh, you don't want to know.
See, and you know what the thing is that they're using like a simple asphyxiant to do this one. We usually use pepper, and you put it in a pot and put it on a stove with nothing in it, and you put the lid on it, and then you slide it into the bunk room and take the lid off, and it makes a pepper bomb. And that's probably more of a WMD, though.
Yeah, well,
So on the next show of the Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable.
Listen,
oh, no.
You laugh, but we had an entire building.
You had a run like that, right? Yeah.
Manhattan evacuated due to the pepper bomb.
That was a hot wash we did.
Yep, that was a hot wash. The entire building in Manhattan. It was probably a 20-story building. And they lit a fire in the basement. They were playing with the pepper and this and that, and it went right up the elevator shaft, and people from top floors were coming down in tears. It was probably the best pepper bomb ever done.
Must have been a fireman. Fireman can screw anything up. What is that old thing with the ball bearings, right? If you have 3 ball bearings and you have a fireman, one is going to be missing, one's going to be cracked in half, one will be pregnant.
Right.
So, yeah.
Before we get too far, I want to say happy birthday to Mike Kimura, who's watching our show on his birthday, no less.
What?
Happy
birthday. Happy birthday, Mikey.
And I saw his little peanut's not feeling good, so it sucks to have a sick kid on your birthday.
Yes. So anyway, what else we got?
I don't know. What else? Anything else happening in the news? Come across Hazmat Nation?
No. We just we did I want to talk about a little bit Mercury. Has anybody seen that video I put out on Mercury, the vapor?
That was good with the vapors. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. It was an attempted seeing. I think it was the only part of last week that we saw before the system kicked you off.
Is it really?
Yep.
Crap. I wanted to go back into that because I know I got booted, and I think it was something to do with my home router. But if you haven't seen it, go look it up on our Facebook, Twitter, for the podcast, for this show, the Hazmat Guys Nation. There's an awesome video that we've gotten a lot of traction on. It's been viewed almost 14,000 times. It shows the vapor that is released from Mercury, and it is very interesting. I was kind of impressed with it, because this is something that we used to play with as kids. We used to roll around in the hands. And like I said, I've drank it before.
December.
But it's majorly it's an inhalation hazard. So when you look at this video, it is a very interesting video, and I'll send you the original if you email me, Bob at thehazmatguys.com. I will send you the original video, but it's a great show to the guys to say this is an inhalation hazard. This is what it looks like when you can see. That's the great thing about firemen and guys of that ilk is that if you show them, they have no. It's irrefutable now. They can't.
Then they get it.
They get it. All you got to do is show them because they'll be like, I'm throwing a bullshit flag. I don't believe you.
That's why if you're not doing hands-on demonstrations for your chemical and physical properties, you might as well just give your guys a pillow and tell them I'll wake you up before you leave.
I just did. We were actually in the middle of finishing up one of the productions. We're doing a little video. We're putting our toe in the water to see if this works. And you got this. That's some toe. Is that a thumb? Oh my God! Is that your thumb? It was horrendous.
The transplant.
They look like Hanson from the scary movies. We're trying this out, and we have a very cool little hands-on demo that you can give to guys, showing the effect of a hose stream on a tank, like a liquid tank, and how the hose stream reverses things, how it affects the liquid line, how much, all these things. It's a great demo. It's super cheap to do. It costs you, what, 20 cents? I think 20 cents.
If you don't want to dig, if you don't want to dig through the garbage for the can, it could cost you $1 for the soda bottle.
Maybe. So we're finishing that one up, and now actually maybe we can roll that out next week. I think we should have that done. So maybe we can put that one out.
That would work.
And Todd Burton put out a tip about using a flashlight when looking for small amounts of mercury balls.
Yeah,
reflects off.
We actually talk about that in the podcast. And if you're going to use a flashlight and you're going to use an amalgam, definitely know what the difference is between the two. That way you're not thinking that you're picking up mercury when you're actually picking up amalgam. If you don't know what amalgam is, then don't worry about what I just said. You don't have it.
Well, use the amalgam last, please, by all means. Mikey, that time in Plymouth when we ran the whole class out of the door.
Oh, yes. When I almost lit the hotel on fire. Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah. Because, a little strip to burn is nice. So, of course, what is
a bigger strip's got to be better.
A bigger strip was going to be great. So, that's okay. We were by an emergency exit. I just hushed everyone out the door and finished the demo there. I'll be burning down that hotel room again come September. So, I can't wait, Mikey.
Awesome.
I have a question. We had a run yesterday, so this is why I'll kind of bring this up. What is an immediate way to know whether somebody has gotten pepper spray or hit with a nerve agent or a chemical warfare agent? What would be one of the telltale signs as you're walking up to the scene for the guys in the chat room? If they come back with this. So I asked this because we got to run to Staten Island, and it took us about 45 minutes to an hour to get there. And by the time we got there, there was really nothing. If you don't know, pepper spray comes out as almost like a powder. It's a solid, but it is broken up and it is pushed out of the bottle with a propellant. So that propellant comes out, and there are a couple meters out there. They don't pick up the actual irritant, but they will pick up the propellant that was used. And that's how we kind of determine whether or not it was a mace or something like that. Because by the time we get there, everything's on the ground. Everything's dissipated. So it is very difficult for Hazmat 1 to be like, yeah, an hour later, there was definitely pepper spray here. So here we're getting a bunch of answers. Pupils, the smell. Dave, if you're smelling as you're going up, you probably need to put your mask on. 2 days only. Meiosis. Okay. So the
APD 200, we don't,
seen it once at APD.
On the APD 200, we don't even have that.
Yeah, not anymore. Oh, the 2000. Yeah, the APD 2000. Yeah, it did pick up the irritant, and again, it picked up that propellant. The Chem-Pro. Yes, I believe the Chem-Pro picks up pretty much everything. So here's one of the quickest ways to know.
You know the ChemPro picks up solar radiation. All right.
It reflects it back to you.
It does.
All right. So here's one of the best ways we have a new character on our show. We call him a Chief Lucky Test. So you're pulling up on scene, and Chief Lucky Test is yelling at you that he thinks this has been a chemical warfare. And as you're walking up to the scene, people are leaving the building, and they are starting to feel better. And this is one of the keys between chemical warfare agents and irritants, is that feeling better when introduced to fresh air. All right. If the signs and symptoms of your patients are important, if your patients are feeling better upon hitting fresh air, you have an irritant. If the signs and symptoms are not going away in fresh air, then you have the possibility of having a chemical warfare agent. So on top of the meters and all that stuff, but a sign and symptom of looking at the people in the scene in general as you're walking up, you could pretty much rule out nerve agent if they're starting to feel better and they're outside.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you one question, and then we're going to wrap it up. In many jurisdictions, now this might not be everybody, but in many jurisdictions, which of the following indicates an emergency evacuation? Is it 3 long blasts of the air horn, 3 short blasts of the air horn, 3 long blasts of the siren, or 3 short blasts of the siren? So 3 long or 3 shorts of the air horn or the siren.
I'm going to go 3 long.
Which?
I'm going to go
A
3
horn.
long air horn.
Okay.
Or the horn.
It's what you decide, I guess. It's
True.
it's wherever my foot falls.
Well, what defines short and what defines long? Like, are we talking minute each?
It's, when we're telling the guy at the plug to turn it on, it's 3 short blasts, and then boom.
Bob says 3 long blasts. I don't of the air horn. Correct. Okay, very good.
3 long blasts of the air horn.
And then it's also dependent on who is in the building.
And if you're on a promotional list or not.
And if you're on a promotional list, that's right. If you're on a promotional list, it's no blasts.
In the entry huddle, it's what you decide. That's very good. That I don't know about that. That should be that is good if you don't already have in your SOG. 3 long and a horn makes sense. Are we going to let me talk one night or not? Oh.
So yeah, I'm going 3 long. But you know what? It's funny because like at our fires, when we were going defensive, it's 10 long horn blasts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So we just lay it locally. We lay it on.
All right. So let me get this straight. 10 blasts. So you're going down a hallway, balls to the walls, right? And you hear horn blasts, and let's say you start counting at 5, and you're like, "Oh, I heard 4. Oh, that was 9. Don't worry about it."
No, I think it is. I think the whole 10. I think the whole 10. Yeah, 9. We're good. We can stay.
No, we're good.
I think the whole 10 thing is you're going to miss the first 7. And if you hear multiple horn blasts other than the 3 that we use for turning on a plug instead of tying up radio traffic, you hear more than 3, then obviously something's going wrong. You need to get the hell out.
So there's no code for 11 horn blasts.
No code for 11 horn blasts. They will do emergency traffic over the radio, but that in conjunction with the 10 horn blasts to evacuate a building. For us.
I love it.
All right. Let's see.
That was good.
All right.
Bob, you are more than welcome to try to come on.
We got about 2 minutes.
One more shot. 3rd time's the charm.
Anyhow, so while we're waiting, just to bring up a few things that are coming up. We got FDIC coming up soon. You guys are not going to be there, correct?
No, unfortunately. Unfortunately, we will not be there. We will be in Baltimore. We couldn't.
So we will all be in Baltimore, but myself, Phil, and Jason will be at FDIC. Phil's teaching, like I mentioned earlier, the gray area where Rescue Meets Hazmat, and we've got some other fun things planned. We're all going to be in Baltimore coming up. God, that's pretty close too. That's like June, right? First week of June.
Yeah, first or second. Yeah, right. It is.
It's always during my anniversary, so it's the it's
that goes over well, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Here we go.
So at any rate,
yeah, we got me and Mike are doing New York State. That is coming up very soon. It's April, the end of April, April 20th.
And we got Cold Zone in May.
Cold Zone.
In one of the M cities. Minnesota, I think.
Minnesota?
Yeah. Mini something cold, whatever it is.
Mini cold. It's not Milwaukee, even though we always want to say Milwaukee.
I think it's Minnesota. Yeah.
I think we finally got that one right.
And we're all coming to Massachusetts. At least I'm going to Massachusetts.
I'll be in Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to have an open bar from 10 to 10:02. So make sure you're there.
Yes.
When's that one?
I don't know. It's in September.
I'm there. I just wanted the open bar.
10 to 10:02. You better make it happen. Awesome. All right. I don't think this is happening. So why don't we wrap this up, Mike?
All right. So thank you for listening to another episode of the Hazmat Guys Nation. We are here if you need us. Bob, Kosh. If anybody who's listening would like to get a hold of you, how could they do so?
You can get me at hzmtlt@gmail.com or bobkosh@hazsim.com.
Awesome.
And the other Bob, how do people find you if they intend to do so?
Unintentionally, just run. If you intend to call me, it's bob@thehazmatguys.com. Me and Mike are the co-hosts for a podcast that breaks down incredibly difficult hazmat topics into something that a fifth grader can do and understand. And we just put out one on
leaking gas,
leaking tanks, part 2. That's
part 2.
Couldn't remember. And actually, right after this show, we're going to be recording NIMS.
All over.
Very sexy thing. It's no,
it's fun.
We are going to make this fun. This one's going to be funny. You're going to want to.
You guys will make NIMS worthwhile, without a doubt.
I promise you. We've turned it. This is actually the second time we're doing it, and because there was a I don't want to say a clerical. There was a technical issue on a microphone, and so. We already know the shtick, and so it's going to be even better executed this time. So that's it. But you can get me at bob@thehazmatguys.com, and we will see you out there at the shows.
All right. And I am the same as Bob, with the exception of my name is Mike. So you can find me at Mike@thehazmatguys. And shoot us an email. We are constantly looking for people to come onto the show and talk about runs that they've had, experiences that they've had, and to teach other people what they've learned, including us. So it's the whole reason we did it. Even if you think it is the stupidest thing in the world, I bet you there's somebody out there who hasn't done it and wants to know about it, so that when they do it, they have your experience in their head. So please email me, Mike@thehazmatguys, and we will try to get you on air. Mike Kimura, happy birthday there, buddy.
Yep. You say, fellas.
At some point, it'll end.